Good evening. You might be wondering, what am I doing in the drama room this time? I don't know if you can see it from that angle, but we have an issue. With our tables. In fact, the issue is so bad that as you look around the room, you will notice that of the 70 chairs that we currently have in here,
39 of them are broken. Buckle up for safety as I give you a day in the life of facilities maintenance.
I say 39, but that was as of last count. Could be higher than that now. So you see the tables here. This one and this one. They are clipped into their position the way they are supposed to be. There's a little plastic clip underneath here. But that has proved to be a flawed part. Because if you look down the row, you see all those tables that are just kind of sticking out a bit? They're just dangling there. That one is broken. This one is broken. This one is broken. That one's broken. That one's broken. You get the idea. They've got these little plastic clips on the bottom, and they're not very robust. These chairs are only a year old, and we are close to 60% failed already. Let me show you some of those clips, because they're all over the place. Okay, so here's one on the floor right there. Let's take a walk down this row. Oh, that's something else. That's an end cap from one of these spots. I'll just put that in my pocket. Oh, we got a bit of a gold mine here. There's one there. There's one there. There's another one. There's another one. There's one under there. And here's another one here. So that's just recently. So instead of 38 broken ones, we're probably now up to 39, 40, 41, 42. We're probably at about 45 out of a total of 70, which is putting us at over 60% broken. So obviously that's not acceptable. We contacted the company that sold us and installed these seats and asked them if there was an improved part for this, because it's a flawed part. The company that sold the chairs to us said the manufacturer is aware of the problem, but they do not have an improved part. So, what do I do? Well, come with me into the laboratory and see what I've been working on. This design is just terrible. They're just not strong. The plastic breaks. And then they're useless. And so, I'm trying to come up with a solution. Now, I've been accused of overthinking things at times. It's possibly true, but not always. And sometimes it helps. And I think in this instance, it actually will. So a friend of mine from work here, also an overthinker, he and I were brainstorming, and we came up with an idea that instead of a plastic clip or trying to 3D print something a little more robust or something along those lines, let's get away from the clip idea altogether and go with a magnet. The thought we had was that if we could attach this magnet somewhere and then put a receiver on the other side, this magnet could potentially do the job of these clips. And it would never break. So, that's what I'm gonna try. I don't know if I'll be successful or not, or if I'll find the right parts that I need. I need to figure out a way to mount the magnet. I need to figure out a way to mount the receiver, and then hope that the magnet itself is strong enough to do what I need it to do. If you look at where the table has been making contact with this clip, there's a metal bracket underneath here. It's actually bent already. So these kids have been slamming these things in hard enough to bend this metal bracket in here. So whatever I do has to be made strong enough so that it's just not going to break from abuse. But what I do like is that there is this metal bracket here. This clip is bolted in so that I can come up with something to hold the magnet in place that's interchangeable, it's removable, that's accessible, that's retrofittable. I can go along, if I make something that literally just bolts onto here, then I can go around to all the chairs in the drama room and unbolt this clip and bolt in what I invent. Yeah. So I just have to measure this distance from there to here and be accurate with that. I actually think this is doable. I gotta take this off and measure this distance, see what I can come up with. So what are we working with down here? Oh, so this is really, this weld is actually broken, or is this glued in place? It almost looks like it was just epoxied in place. This acts as a spacer. So maybe I get rid of this altogether. What I do know is that this bolt is an M6 by 1.0 pitch threading. This is one of the best things I ever purchased for the job that I do, you know. It wasn't that expensive, and it has all metric and standard threading on it. It allows me to figure out what the thread size and pitch is of any bolt that I have. So this one, for instance, it's an M6-1.0 by 70. So that's what that is. Not that that information matters to you at all. What it looks like is this little bracket was put in place to just provide, was there to provide an end stop, probably so you didn't crank this in so far that it would punch up through the top of the armrest right here. But this is a flawed design because you can see how it's bending. If this would have been made as a post with a hole drilled through the middle of it, it would not bend, it wouldn't be able to compress. So we can do better than that. This may actually be easier than I thought. This cap bolt here actually works as a very good mock-up to be able to adjust and see what I want for depth and whatnot. I want this to be parallel. So I wonder if that'll come out just a little bit further. That is not bad. Let me measure that. Okay, so that's looking like 48 millimeters to me. So, let me show you what I have in mind. So this is essentially what I have in mind right here. I don't know what I will make this material out of yet. I could 3D print it. We have the ability to do that here in the school. But really, I've just got this 6mm threaded stud, which will be embedded in whatever this happens to be. It would stick out about 20mm or so. That would give me lots of threading to be able to thread into here. And then an earth magnet like this one, like a little hockey puck, you can see is just living in the end of whatever this piece, let's call it a stud, living in the end of here. It would be epoxied in place, so it would become a permanent piece on the end. So the end of this would be magnetic. This would thread in. This spacing is 40mm, which would create a parallel and perpendicular relationship here. It's really quite simple. And then all I would have to do is mount something metal permanently here, so that the magnet has something to be attracted to here, because this is all some form of metal, but I don't think it's magnetic. If it is, that would make life really simple, but it's not. It's just some kind of hot metal. So I'd have to attach something to it. So if whatever I attach to it is, say, a mil thick, then I lose a mil off of here and this becomes 47. But you see where I'm going with this, right? It's actually not too complicated. And the most obvious thing to start with would be wood, because that is the easiest thing to manipulate at this point and come up with a mock-up. So I will start with that and yeah, go from there. But I do think that I will go with 47 right off the bat instead of 48. To allow me a millimeter of spacing for that washer that needs to be attached to the table portion. Yeah, that should do it. So on one end of this now, I need to drill or create a recess that will allow this magnet to be accepted in there. Just kind of like that. And on the other side, I have to drill in to allow something like, well, some kind of post to be inserted in there. All right. I do have a small set of Forstner bits here. I don't know if I have. Okay, I need 2 hands. I'm sorry, I gotta set this down. I apologize for the crappy camera work. I'm looking at what I'm working on more than what I'm seeing, or the camera is seeing, and I'm sorry about that. It makes it hard to watch, I understand. That actually is, it's about a 1/16 shy of 3/4 inches, which will work well, because then it'll allow for epoxy both underneath and around the edges of it, which should secure it very well. So I'm going to go with 3/4. Of course, I'm just eyeballing all of this. Until we go into mass production mode. Close enough. Okay, I'm gonna have to take that
chair assembly out of the vise because I need to put this into it so I can actually create my recess. It's not dead center, but it should work. Eyeballing this, but I think I can go a little deeper. That is probably almost good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Sawdust. So this is what I've come up with. It's not dead center, so, you know, prototype, right? This will be epoxied in place. So this will become a magnet post. So it just so happens that I have a box of 6mm cap bolts here. Not as long as the one that came out of there. This is the one that came out of there, but that doesn't matter. All I need to do is have the threads sticking out of the end of this. So I'm going to drill a hole in here large enough to be able to drop this cap bolt in there. Drop some epoxy around there. Hope that holds for the purposes of my prototyping. This will sit down inside there, and I'll leave about that many of the threads protruding at the bottom. So that will be next. Hole drilling. Again, drill pressing would be better, but I'm going to do this all freehand here for the purposes of this. And I'm just estimating depth here at this point. That's really just a pilot hole. I need to do this large enough so that my the head of the cap bolt will drop in. I'm going to start with that 3/8, and I'm going to make a reference on here so that I don't go deeper than 20 mil. So a quick and easy way to do that is with tape, just like that. Would be stronger, going slightly larger and then letting the epoxy do the work of gripping this, or having this so tight that it literally would need to be hammered into place. If I hammer it into place, I could split this. It's wood, so I'm going to go one size up. I think I can do this without referencing any type of depth on here because it goes in so easy at this point that I can bottom out. I can feel the bottom. Bang, bang, bang. Yeah, even that is still snug, so I gotta go one size more. One size more! Get this in by hand. There's the bottom. You know what? I'm gonna work with that. Yep. Alright, keep you nice and snug. Yeah. I'm liking this. So this is where I'm at. I've made this out of wood. The stud will come out of here. My magnet will be in here, and didn't take me that long to make this, actually. Now to mass produce this, I wouldn't do it out of wood like this and make 75 of these things because they would not all be identical. I want them to be exactly the same, and so you want replication is important. So 3D printing will probably be the way to go for these. Yeah, okay, I gotta glue this up, and then we'll wait for it to set up. It is important to track your notes, because if you're like me and you end up trying a dozen different things before you land on where you want to go, you will forget. And so keeping track of these things is important, at least for me, maybe for you. If you've never used epoxy, you can see there's actually two different chemicals that are going to react to each other now as I mix them up. And that's going to give me, I think with this one I have about 10 minutes of working time. Now, it might turn out that there is actually another glue that I could use for this process that would work just as well, or maybe even better, and be less work than mixing up epoxy. But at this stage, I know that epoxy will work. So I've coated the whole inside of this with epoxy. I'll drop my magnet in. And you can see as I press that down, it has it's just come up around the edge, so that's like literally perfect. I don't want to turn this upside down. Set that there, let that set up, and wash my hands and go grab a coffee. Ta-da! Here is my prototype. I've changed one thing slightly from my original drawing here. Originally I had 20 millimeter here. I've changed that to 35. This actually isn't quite 35, this is 30. I'd like a little bit more than what I've got here, actually. But, yeah, this just threads in there like that. And the table will close up like that. It's upside down right now. The orientation is flipped. That's the base. That's the top. So now I just have to put a magnetic receiver, or not a magnetic, a steel receiver on the edge of the table here. So just mount right there. So that's next steps. Something like just a small washer like this would do the trick, except that I'd like it to be just a little thicker, so it's got a little more meat to it, and the hole in the center to be countersunk. So for the time being, I can just use a little washer to test it. If I make it to beyond prototype into production, then I'll find something that's actually countersunk. sticking this piece of tape down because it gives me something to, makes it a little easier to mark the surface. That is 103 right there. That's my center mark right there. So again, with the very small drill bit, looks like aluminum. That's what this is made out of. Probably is. And now into the table itself, which is this plastic. Now, do I have a washer? The center hole of this is actually a little large. Okay, I found a little washer here that I thought, hey, that's perfect, and it's actually not the exact same size as the other one that I had. The screw that would work for this actually does not go down completely flush, so I need to take this out of my vise so I can try and countersink this washer a little bit. If the screw is going to sit up proud from the washer, then I might as well just put a screw in here and see if that holds. But the head of a screw is not enough surface area to create the magnetic force needed to hold the table up, which is why I need to do the whole washer. Increase the surface area, I have more magnetic holding power. Having said that, so if I can get it to work with this, then I know I can be successful, because these type of ceramic magnets, even though it's a rare earth magnet, they're not nearly as strong as, there's another type of magnet out there that's also, I think it's a rare earth magnet, but I think it's called neodyne. They're actually shiny, and apparently they're permanent. They don't lose their magnetic force. I don't know if that's true or not, but you can get them. A magnet this size could have potentially about 50 or 60 pounds of holding power, which would be fantastic. So if I can get it to work with a weaker magnet and a not perfect surface here, then I know I can be successful using the correct products. I need to be careful I don't go all the way through. I just want to countersink a little bit. Okay, there's my rough countersink, and my screw is very flush, so that should be a good test of whether or not this is actually going to work. Okay, so that is now tight and flush. So my magnetic post here, my receiving end right there. So the concept is simple. That's how that will meet. It's just with this type of magnet, I don't think it's going to have the magnetic strength to do what I want it to do. But with a proper magnet, it would actually work. I'll try it anyway. Okay, so it doesn't work. However, the concept is sound. There's my magnet there with that little washer sticking to it. It's just not a very strong magnet. You know, so even though I have this receiver right here, it's just the wrong type of magnet. I wish I had some of those more powerful magnets, because then this would totally work. I know it will. So I'm gonna move forward, and maybe I'll just buy a couple to to make a second prototype piece with a stronger magnet in it, and get success there before I move forward and buy 70 of them, because I have 70 chairs to modify.
So I'm going to call it there. I hope you found this interesting, and of course down the road in the future when I get to next steps, I'll update you and let you know where I'm at. I'm pretty sure it'll work once I get the right parts. But yeah, for now, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to do so. Have a great day.